So I'm in my final semester of college, and I needed an elective to satisfy my last remaining degree requirements. After poring through pages of the course catalog, eventually I settled on an existential psychology class. From what I heard, it was exactly what I was looking for. The perfect crossroads of interesting material and an easy A. In an effort to illustrate how we occupy our time with entirely human-made constructs, my professor opened lecture with a simple exercise. Jot down 5 things you did before coming to class, as well as your biggest worry. The first part was easy. For a noon class with nothing before it, it was the usual routine. Ate breakfast, showered, got dressed, checked Twitter, watched a show, normal stuff. The second was a little trickier. My biggest worry. An array of programmed responses flittered through my head. You know, the types of stressors haunting every college-aged millennial soon to go out into the real world. Jobs, housing, grad school, financial stability, companionship, etc. As these questions swirled in my mind, I glanced back down at my sheet. The list of banal tasks I'd done that day. I couldn't help but wonder how my list stacked up to others in the class. How much better had they used their time? How much more had they accomplished? That's when it hit me. My biggest worry. An itch I can never seem to escape. Am I doing enough? That question forms the basis of Kimari's great fear at the start of the winter 2018 anime A Place Further Than the Universe, or Yorimoi. Afraid her youth will pass her by with nothing to show for it, she feels this inescapable force, pushing her to do something. Kimari's arc in Yorimoi illustrates the existential idea of the wake-up call, broadly defined as any experience that shocks people out of their current way of living and changes their thoughts, feelings, and behavior in ways that allow them to lead a more fulfilling life. You come to a point in your life where you grow weary of pretending, of following the script society ordained for you, and find the resolve to change it, appreciating life and the world as they are. That is the essence of the wake-up call. First formally characterized by mathematician John-Wren Lewis after a near-death experience in 1983, he said it gave a greater intensity to my experience, a greater appreciation of the natural world, of relationships, and of the wonder of being alive. The prescription of how to live given by family, culture, profession, religion, or friends loses its grasp. The commonality in nearly every account of this effect is the shocking experience. These people didn't just wake up one morning and decide to see the world in a new light. They went through some form of jarring incident that forces them to change their lens or be stuck back. The most common is a close brush with death, but it could also be having a baby, hiking the Appalachian Trail, or any number of events that force you to readjust the way you approach things. For A Place Further Than the Universe, this comes through a trip to Antarctica. Travel, like the girls embark on in Yorimoi, lends itself to such personal growth when it exemplifies 3 factors: autonomous, cross-cultural, hardship. It has to be your choice. You have to be the one taking this on. Kimari made the decision of her own accord to join Shirase on her quest. It exposes you to a different way of doing things, a loss of the home support system. From Singapore to Australia and ultimately the edge of the earth, Kimari and the others are forced to drop what they used to know and figure out how to live in their new situation. Adversity used as a facilitator for growth. Sarah Hirschorn and Kate Hefferon described this phenomenon in a 2013 study exploring the motivations, experiences, and psychological effects of people who undertook such cross-cultural travel, revealing a common thread through each of their treks. While the study focused on 30-somethings taking a career break, the patterns found in their experiences closely align with that of Kimari and the others, and thus warrant comparison. We can break it down into 3 parts. First, they felt an existential yearning to travel, a calling to something more, and awareness of their finite existence. They said they no longer felt content chugging along and wanted to do something different. At the start of the series, Kimari finds herself in a rut, that cog in the machine feeling hanging over her. She sees adolescence passing her by, flooded with daydreams of grand adventures as waves of carpe diem rush over. With the potential of the universe stretched out in front, everyone around her looks down, no way to grab hold of it. But she's tired of that. She wants to look up. However, if simply wanting it were all it took, we'd all be backpacking across some remote paradise. You have to actually take that leap, the second step, to jump off the ledge. That's no small feat. Numerous hindrances, both internal and external, threaten to hold Kimari back, be it a lack of funds, whether the expedition team would even let them join, and the pull of her safety net. Could you muster the courage to jump into the unknown? As the trip turned from pipe dream to reality, Kimari's childhood friend Megumi tests her resolve. While Kimari's off making this wild fantasy come true with her newfound companions, Megumi inevitably feels left behind, even trying to sabotage the trip. Regardless of how much she cares for her friend, Kimari sees this as something she has to do. The participants in the study described leaving as a self-determined, seismic event. In order to take this journey on and find her growth, Kimari has to let go of everything, including the people she cared most about, and that's incredibly painful. Even during the expedition, the support system threatens to drag them back, with Hinata's former teammates trying to ride her coattails. Finally, with the desire to see something more and the courage to go any distance to find it, Kimari discovers this sense of authenticity in the world, in her relationships, in herself. These are the tenets of the wake-up call. The participants of Hirschorn's study described their new perspective as one of intrinsically motivated self-direction, peace in the present moment, and fulfillment. Their definition of success became more self-oriented, and they, like Hinata, broke off disingenuous relationships. Kimari tells Shirase it's not Antarctica itself that opened her eyes, but the summation of their experience together. The wake-up call isn't just contained to this specific moment of experience, but a long-lasting, whole new way of seeing things and actually implementing it. This place won't be so easily forgotten. As Shirase puts it, it's an environment that exposes everything we're embarrassed about and everything we want to hide. And so, naked and crying, we're forced to come face to face with who we really are. Even as they reassimilate back into their regular lives, those trials they overcame here and lessons they learned about themselves won't suddenly go away. It's not so much a return to normalcy as a new normal. They remark how when you go on a journey, you find there's no such thing as a nothing day, that your house has its own smell. You see things unfiltered for the first time. They will carry this experience, this place, with them, always. That's all great, but with no plans to head for the South Pole anytime soon, where does that leave the rest of us? Do you have to go through some life-altering, possibly traumatic event to see these effects? Not entirely. The wake-up call is a vehicle for growth, not the only way to get there. That said, true growth isn't easily obtained. There are no shortcuts. I see myself like Kimari at the beginning of the series, overcome with this desire for experience, but unsure how or if she should take that step. Though, in truth, most of us are really like Megami, still stuck back, without the resolve. But even if you can't find it from the start, as Kimari says, people who feel the same way will find you right away. I'll leave you with this quote from Wren Lewis describing his newfound worldview. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped in dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. I keep coming back to my original question. Am I doing enough? Enough according to who? Myself or these external pressures? It shouldn't be about easy A's or ticking off life benchmarks like a shopping list. Kimari didn't go to Antarctica to measure up to the people around her. Quite the opposite. She embarked on this journey because she wanted to. She had to. And in doing so, discovered her place within herself. Maybe you don't have to travel to the ends of the earth to locate that. Even so, we all have to find that place. Our place, further than the universe.